if you look from a marketing perspective at media consumption, you look at the Nielsen data, a couple shows back, we took a look at sort of the supply and demand for different media. And to me, there's always an opportunity when there's this discontinuity. If you look at traditional sort of established media, say broadcast TV, you see that basically people spend the same amount of time, like 45, 46% of their time on broadcast TV as consumers, and lo and behold, advertisers spend about 45% of their ad budget on broadcast TV. But then you look at other things that are sort of in transition. Print is lagging, right? That the audience is sort of moving away from print, yet the advertising still is going into those channels. And then mobile, to me, is a huge opportunity, because if I remember the data correctly, it's now up to 10% of media time. So consumers are spending 10% of their media consumption on mobile devices, but yet advertisers are only spending 1% of their ad dollars. Is that really the big opportunity here, how to sort of close that gap and come up with clever ways and more effective ways to drive campaigns and advertising on mobile?
Yeah, that's it. It is the big opportunity. It seems like marketers don't quite understand it. Let's go back in time to the 1990s when e-commerce first came out, right? When we first put up our very first shopping carts. Even now in 2012, there's 9 million merchants in the U.S., but only about 900,000 merchants have some sort of e-commerce. And it still seems like a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, haven't quite figured out e-commerce. Now we're going to lump on social media and mobile commerce for them to figure out. And it seems like it's creating some confusion for marketers and advertising. But there's some interesting data about real-time television, where people put their attention throughout the day. So if you look at a 24-hour day, during the daytime, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., mobile commerce actually has more attention than television. But during primetime hours, 6 to say 9 p.m., television is consumed as the primary source of media, and mobile media actually comes down to number 3 behind the internet. So it's throughout the day to see where advertisers should pick their spots for mobile marketing.
Well, it's funny, it still comes down to day parts, right? I mean, we talk about all these new channels, but at the end of the day, it's still about how you split up your media spend, how you pick the right channel for the right audience with the right message. I mean, it's sort of ironic, but maybe not, that still some of the old rules apply, even though we're talking about new channels. And I think that's a lesson that people still don't necessarily get, that just because Facebook, for example, is a new environment doesn't mean that you still need to measure the performance of your campaigns. You still need to have, ad units that work. You still need to have feedback, and you have to listen to the market, and you have to test things. The new channels provide maybe more interactivity and more data to track those things, and maybe more convenience in the case of mobile. At the end of the day, you still have to have the rigor of running kind of quote-unquote old-fashioned campaigns. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's kind of been my perspective, is just because the channel changes doesn't mean the rigor goes away.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but it seems like no matter what channel you choose, the savvy marketers are realizing they got to be short and to the point. It's almost like they have to treat everything they do as a tweet. Like the new PressPay website, we treat it as the tweet version of a website. It's very lightweight, very easy to get in and out. So we have less attention span, whether you're running something on television or mobile marketing or what you're talking about. You should always assume that you have maybe 15 to 30 seconds, if that, to get someone's attention.